Welcome everyone to day 37. Today I want to start payment integration using a payment gateway. Like I told you, this is an end-to-end project having the backend with FastAPI, the front end with Next.js. We have DevOps. We shall have AI integrations. We have integrated third-party or external services. We have things coming up that are even more interesting. So let's continue. Yesterday, I spent some time studying some payment gateways, and in one of the streams that we did, I think this week, between either Sunday to Monday, one of the people who was watching, following live, suggested that we use this payment gateway called DPO. Okay, so I created an account and expected it to be instant. Okay, but it was not instant. Actually, the like you see this message says, "Thank you for signing up." Let me just zoom in so you can read better. It says, "Thank you for signing up with us. Our team is currently reviewing your account." Okay, so this is what I've been waiting for. Okay, but I do not wait indefinitely. Okay, I will do what I can. So I went on to another site called Flutterwave. That's where I created an account. So I hope Flutterwave works. Do I remember my password? Okay, they're telling me to log in. I'm not sure if I remember. So let me quickly enter my credentials and then we can continue. For some reason, I can't sign up, so I have to reset my password, which is okay. I will get to reset the password probably later because I'm waiting for the reset password email, but it hasn't reached yet. So I'll be patient. So one thing we can do is to go to this documentation, okay? The API. So you can see it is developer.flutterwave.com, and we try to see if we can figure out what they're all about. Okay, so I've clicked on get started. There's also this. So say create your first sandbox account. This is exactly what I just did. Okay. So I created this one. All right, here the documentation. So maybe as a way to figure out the account, and this is not something I was expecting to face again because I created an account and I actually got the API keys. If I could show you, okay, I got the API keys and I had marked what is needed. So in your .env, okay, you need to have something like the client ID, okay, the client secret, and then the encryption key. In fact, immediately you create your account successfully, the first thing they provide are these values, okay? The client ID, if I can make this bigger for you to see. They give the client ID, secret, and encryption key. But then that's not here yet, okay? So once I said I am done fixing this, it should be good to go. So, but then it doesn't stop us from studying the API gateway, okay? I mean the payment gateway and how it works. So usually when I'm working with these gateways, they usually have like a trail of what to do, okay? They have a trail of what to do. That this is the first step, this is the second step, this is the third step. Sometime back I worked with Stripe, okay, and Paystack, and they had something similar like this, whereby you had first of all create a customer, okay. So if I can show you this, if you see this says list customers, but if I go to customer, they have an endpoint for creating a customer. So it's the domain then / customers. And like you see, it needs credentials, which is a bearer token. And using the Python request package, okay, we can import requests, state the URL, okay, then have our headers, having the accept key and content type, and then we can simply say response equals to request.post, the URL and headers. With this alone, the response.text will have this data at the bottom, okay? As simple as that. Then they're showing here, they're saying login to see the full request history. This is something I'll fix later. But if we move down, you see they have the body params, okay? They have the address, which is an object, which has the following information. The city of the customer is required, the country is required, the line 1 is required, the postal code is required, line 2 is not required, the state is required, email required, okay, phone, these others are not required, okay. So next up, what do we see? Wait, I think I had seen something. Oh, I now get it. The email is not part of the address object. So in an address object only has city, country, line 1, line 2, postal code, and state. So out of all these, only line 2 is not required. Okay. So for one question in customer, we shall need to have the address, the email, okay, the name. So the name has first name, middle, last. Okay, this is good. The meta, I think this is extra metadata that we can add. Okay, not bad. And actually, I like how it reflects this other side. Okay, let me try to do something and see at gmail.com. Okay, so you see it has been added. If I come here, simply type the values which are there. New York, US, 123 Main Street. Next up, 1001. Again, New York. Okay, that looks okay. So it says as you type, they create for you the payload. Okay, the payload is built with all the required keys. So that's how we create a customer. Then there's a 200 okay, there's a 400 bad request. What else? The response body. returns a string. I mean, it returns a status, which is a string, an error. Okay. And then the error has a type, the code, and message. Okay. So the error is an object. Then validation errors, which is an array of objects having the field name and message. Then there's only for when you're unauthorized. Then when you're forbidden, and when there's a conflict. Okay. So I think if I'm creating a customer, I'm thinking about how I can manage this. I think on my end, on the back end, I might have to have my own customers also tracked. Okay. Might have to track the customers on my end. Then the next one is for retrieving a customer. So I think because according how I understand it is that you cannot charge, according to Flutterwave, according to this payment gateway, you need to charge someone who exists. And this person who exists is called a customer. So we need to charge them. So you first create a customer, okay, then you can now charge them. Sometimes when you want to retrieve, you can retrieve an old customer. So I think on the user model, for the first time when I create a customer, I will attach the customer ID, okay, of Flutterwave. So that later when I'm interacting with Flutterwave, I can now fetch, okay? I can now fetch the customer details. My eye is inching me for some reason. Okay, let's continue. So when I create a customer, in my backend, I take note of the customer ID. So if you go to create a customer and we look at the response, on the response body, where is it? These are headers 201. Okay. See, we have an ID. I see this ID. This is the ID of the customer. So in the code, let me show you. Okay. If you go to models users, okay, I can create another model. Okay. One way is simply to add it here. I can say maybe Flutter underscore wave. Flutterwave, you see like AI is suggesting customer ID, okay, and have something like this. But the best thing to do would be to create a different model, okay, to handle payments, okay. So I'm going to create another model, for example, like maybe inside here, okay. Create a model, so class maybe payment, like this. This will inherit from SQL model, comma, then table would be equals to true, okay. Then of course, SQL model has to be imported first. Okay. I can get all these fields, paste down, paste like that. Okay. I keep forgetting to fix this. Okay. But it's simply an issue of the editor. Okay. Then of course the payment, I think like now you're seeing these what AI is suggesting. Okay. But it's something shall build later. Okay. What I want to show is that in the payment, I can have, or in an order to track maybe like payments, I can have like a Flutter wave, okay, customer ID, okay. This is something I'm going to think about and design properly, okay. I'm just trying to explain to you, okay. And so it will be a string, okay, and then of course we can say this is a field, okay, but not a primary key like what AI is saying. It will be different, okay. So this is what I was referring to, that in our model, okay, after creating a customer, okay, we have this ID saved in our model like this, okay. I will think about how to create this class, whether to have it in payments or have it this side, okay. But I want you to understand where I'm going. So then later when I'm trying to make a payment for a user, okay, I can first check if this ID exists. If this ID exists, then I don't create a customer, okay. If this ID exists, then using this ID, I make a request to this endpoint, okay, for retrieving a customer, okay. So you see it if I copy all this and I just paste it here, assuming we had a function, okay, function called maybe fetch Flutterwave Flutterwave customer. Okay. Then of course it wouldn't pass this. Okay. This would be the customer ID. Okay. Then we would make a request. Okay. Using the code that I've copied. Okay. Like this. What is this? Okay. So I want you to have the big picture of what is going to go on. So here, I see this class /id. Okay, what I will do now, turn this into an f string. Then at the end, okay, I remove this string ID, and then pass the customer ID like this. This is what we will do. Okay, so the first thing is check our database. Do we have the customer ID? Great. If we have it, we call this endpoint to fetch. Okay. Otherwise, else we create the customer. Okay. So if you've worked with Flutterwave before, you can guide me and give me some wisdom on what to do. But this is what I think should be done. Now, after that, I need to move on maybe to show you. If you look at the response body, they simply bring back information about the customer, like the ID, the address, the email. Okay. As simple as that. Okay. Now, of course, you can update a customer. That is possible. Okay. I'm not seeing what we would want to how we would need to use it. Okay. So after that, okay, now that we have a customer, what is this? Okay. I want to minimize this. Now that we have a customer, I believe now charges can happen. Okay. Now I cannot list a charge. I think there's list charges, create a charge, retrieve a charge, upload a charge. I cannot list a charge which does not exist. I cannot retrieve a charge which does not exist. I cannot update a charge which does not exist. Okay. So the first step is to create a charge. That's what I think. Okay. If you have any idea how this actually works, let me know. So when I create a charge, okay, whom am I charging? A customer. You have to charge an existing customer. That's how I understand it. So if I go like to the body, okay, shows the amount to be charged. The saying it is required. Let me magnify this. I don't know if you can see it clearly. Okay. The payment is in decimal and the amount must be greater than 0.01. Okay. And they're saying this is where you specify now the currency. Okay. For my case, I'm going to use dollars. Okay. It's saying show enum values. I'm not seeing is there USD. Okay. USD is there. Okay. This is what I would use. I like their documentation. It's really organized. Okay. Then the reference. They're saying a custom reference to track the transaction. This must be unique across all your transactions. So I can build this reference using a date time. Okay. Let me give you an idea. Okay. So assuming maybe I had the function. Okay. Say maybe generate underscore payment reference. Okay. Let us say payment reference. Okay. Add a reference. So let's say reference like this. Okay. Then what I would do, I'll probably use date time. Okay. So import UID, import maybe time zone, import date time, like that. Okay. Then I would return maybe a string like this. Okay. UID. Okay. Then on it, I would maybe join something like, I would say, I want this to be an actual variable. Oh, yeah, it's trying to do a lot. Escape. Okay. Then I'll do this. Okay. I'll say date time dot time zone dot maybe is this something like now. Okay. But you get maybe the timestamp, something like that. Okay. Because I know the whole idea is what I'm trying to show you here is that because they are saying the reference number has to be unique for every transaction. Okay. At the time every transaction is happening, I can ensure that it is unique because timestamps are different. Okay. if I record the time right now, it will be different from the time elsewhere. Okay. So I can, but instead of using this UUID, I can use, for example, the customer ID. Okay. So you get, I combine the customer using the customer ID, because customer IDs are unique. Okay. And they're made by Flutterwave. I would use the customer ID also, probably like this. Okay. Instead of the UUID. Something like this. Okay. It's a general idea of what I would do. Okay. So let's now continue. Then you see, to charge, you need a customer ID. That is why it was important to create the customer ID first. I hope now you get it and you understand it. Okay, so I think I was right. And I think probably they have ordered this page. Okay, they've ordered this page, this documentation to help us understand, like it's in order of what should happen first. Okay. So there's no way you can have this customer ID if the customer has not been created. Okay. So create a customer first. Then after creating the customer, we can now charge them. What is happening? Charges, create a charge. Okay. So yes, where is it? Customer ID. After that, we have a payment method. Okay. So the ID of a payment method, and it's a string. Okay. Which means the payment method has to be something which is created also. It should be somewhere. Then you have the redirect URL. Specify the URL to redirect. In our case, and actually this is optional. It's not required. We shall not need it. Then authorization. Okay. There's OTP authorization. Okay. That you can choose. There's PIN. Okay. There's external 3DS. There's AVS. I don't know what AVS is. Okay. But these are all optional things. Okay. Then they order ID. But that is also optional. Then they have what? A number of headers. Okay. It's the extras ID saying a unique number to track this operation. It must be between 12 and 255 characters in length. But these are all optional. Then you have the responses. If you look at the response, they have a status, okay? And the status is one of the two, either success or failed. Okay, so it can either pass or fail. Then the message, then the data object. This data object has an ID, the ID of the charge, the amount, the fees charged. Okay, so after creating our customer, we can now call this endpoint. Okay, for charging the guy. So for example, if I copy this, I need to put some money here, say 100. Okay, then let's just okay. Currency has to be USD as an example. Reference, I'll put a random reference number. Okay, this thing is acting slow. I don't know why. Customer ID. Okay, I'll put a random customer ID. So you see how it is going to happen. I don't think it's even hard. Then the payment ID, but we need to understand how to get this payment ID. Okay, we need to understand. We're going to look at it. Okay, so with when we are filling the required stuff, I can now copy this. Okay, so how it's going to look like. Okay, so we have, imagine you created the customer. Okay, generate your reference. Then somewhere we shall have a function. Imagine a function called create Flutterwave charge. Okay, of course these ones can be specific to the Flutterwave payment gateway, but later this is something that can be changed. Okay, to work for all play. We can build like a payment service. Okay, that can switch between several types of services dynamically. So if I paste this, I can paste this here. I need to select all this and indent it correctly. Okay, so you see the endpoint. Okay, and this is the test endpoint. So ideally, we can pick this endpoint from the environment variables. Okay, so that in production, when you're setting up the production environment, this changes. Okay, so there's the payload. Okay, like you've seen, the currency, authorization, type. Okay, but this is not actually mandatory. Then Is it recurring? It's not recurring. The amount is this, the reference ID. Now for the reference ID, we can now call our function here. Okay. You stay here, you say, for example, we can say reference, maybe ref ID will equals to generate reference ID. I want to give you a rough idea of how it's going to happen. Okay. But this reference ID needs a customer ID. Okay, we need to pass the customer ID, something like that. So this customer ID can come, for example, from this what function. Okay, we are creating the charge. Remember, we are charging who? A customer. Don't 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 misunderstand it. Okay, try to understand that when you're charging anything, you have to charge a customer. Okay, if you don't have a customer, you must create the customer first. Okay, so imagine maybe assuming maybe you had only this function. Okay, and you're not passing the customer ID and you wanted to cause the customer ID within, you'd have to do something like this. Okay, whereby you say maybe customer is equals to, you call the function for creating the customer fetch. You say create. This should mean, is this fetch? Okay, this is fetch, but we don't have create. Okay, we need the function for creating. Okay, so create Flutterwave underscore customer. Okay, after creating the customer, then you can now say something like customer dot ID, customer ID. And a good thing we're using Pynatic and FastAPI, we shall be able to put types to help us restrict things. Okay, but for now, I might want this to just be here like this. Okay, customer ID as one argument parameter into this function, and it's only one. Then this can be removed. Okay, so this is how it's going to work. You generate the reference, then you put here the reference like that. So the reference is simply having a function that is going to return a unique string, sort of. Okay, so pretty basic. I see nothing really hard. Okay, nothing really hard here. Now, what else do I want to look at? Of course, later, if we want to maybe like verify if someone has paid for something, okay, we can use this endpoint for retrieving a charge. Okay, but in my case, what I want to do is that after it is successful, okay, if it is successful, I'll update this payment. Okay, say maybe something like maybe is you know, maybe is successful or something like that. Okay, I'm trying to think about what to do. Okay, but when this charge has been charged successfully on my model, okay, this will be updated. Okay, with maybe like a payment ID, like you see AI is suggesting. Okay, like this. Okay, so we have a payment ID, but this payment ID will only be populated by a function that performs the charge. Okay, at the end here. Okay, can do something like, imagine you've created a payment. Okay, so payment, okay, equals to maybe payment, something like this. Okay, then you can say now payment dot maybe what was it? Flutterwave payment ID. Okay, is equals to maybe response. Okay, dot JSON, like AI is suggesting. Okay, dot get data dot get ID. Okay, and that would be what would happen. Okay, so take note of this. Okay, so this is me now laying up the groundwork of how everything should happen. But I want first of all understand how it works. I do not want to rush to building it. Okay, because actually, like I told you, my goal today was to study this, because remember the viewer, my friend from Zimbabwe, had suggested that we use this, but they're currently reviewing my account. So instead, I'll do what? Flutterwave. So we can retrieve a charge. So of course, if we store, okay, the payment ID on this model, Flutterwave payment ID, we can obviously retrieve it using the ID, this ID. And it is required, and it's a path param. If you learned FastAPI on this channel with me for 31 days, I expect that you understand what path params is. But it's simply a variable that you put in your path variable. So that is it. So after charges, customer, I'm seeing something called orchestration. What is an orchestrator? It's saying create a charge with an orchestrator helper. So they have an amount, they have a currency, reference, customer object, okay, payment method, okay, they have card, okay. So think here you now put in the complete information, okay, the amount, the currency, the reference, the customer, and this is the customer object, okay. Well, so I get it. So in this case, it creates everything, okay. We don't have to create a customer separately. It creates a customer and charges them, okay. But I wouldn't want to do this because assuming I have maybe users, okay, who are always using my system, okay, I would want to create this customer object once. But it's something to think about it carefully. Then I see the back account, etc. But for me, in my case, I want to only implement card, okay, initially. So shall say a card object where we specify what they call nonce, okay. The expiry, the encrypted expiry month, encrypted expiry year, okay. The encrypted card number, okay. That would work. So I think orchestration does everything. It creates the customer, and I'm thinking it probably also charges. Let me see the response. All right. I may need to read more about this. So again, if you know, please don't hesitate. Remember when creating a charge using the endpoint, okay, separately, there's this what I call a payment method ID. We need to figure out what the payment method ID is. So it says list payment methods, okay? But you cannot list a payment method which you don't have. So before listing a payment method, we need to create a payment method, okay? So they're saying log in to see the full request history. This is something I'll do later. So it's a card, okay? So I guess we can create a card object like this. And it has an ID, okay? So let me scroll. So the response, it has a success or failed. It has data about the card, okay? So this is for creating a card. So which means on the form, when a user gives us their card details, I can actually do this, okay? Use this endpoint to create a card object and store the information. But if they come back again, I can request them if they want to use an existing card in the system. So that they don't have to type it more than once, okay? If there's a card existing in the system, don't type it more than once. So, but I wanted to see something one more time. In the response, is there an ID? Okay, this is the ID. I see. You see this? ID of the payment method. So this is also information of the user that can be saved. Okay. And then we pass it here. Then banks. These are things that I won't go into. So I think that's all that's required. Okay. What is required is a customer, charging a customer. Okay. Actually, I think the first step is create a customer. Okay. Create a card for the customer. Create a payment method for the customer. After creating a payment method, charge them. That's the order. I don't know what you think, but that's what I think. Create a customer or retrieve a customer who is existing. After that, create a payment method for that customer or retrieve a payment method for the customer which is already existing. Then charge that customer. Okay. Then the other thing I think I might need is probably refunds. Create a refund. Let me see. Probably. Okay. This could be a refund. Can do this. See the charge ID. So we have to have charges. being tracked. You can refund, settlement. Okay, you can list settlements. But mainly, what is very important is, number one, creating a customer or retrieving an existing customer. Next step is create a payment method or retrieve a customer's existing payment method. Then after that, charge the customer. Then another thing which is important is probably refunding the customer. Okay. Then you have your fees, which have been talked about. Okay. But I think this is fair enough. Okay. Things like wallets, these are add-ons. Okay. That are not needed in the MVP. They can always what? Add them later. So yeah, this is the first step to achieving greater success with implementing the payment gateway. Okay. So yeah, I was actually very curious about this other one. Okay. That the guy had suggested, but looks like we won't have luck with it. Okay. So we'll go with Flutterwave. Okay. So so today has just been about studying Flutterwave, understanding it. If you think you have a better understanding of Flutterwave, okay, share it in the comment section. Okay. So next up, we're going to now do the actual payment integration. I did not foresee this, so I think I need actually to change the title, okay, of this video not to mislead people. Okay, but of course, those of you who have been following and watching with me over time, you'll actually find this beneficial. Okay, that we at least now understand what the payment gateway requires us to do, and now we can integrate it. So I see API references, I see blog. I hope blog has something that we can do. Let me see. Do they have something? A guide to what is KYC? Okay, nothing. I saw something earlier. I don't know if they have SDKs for Python. Wow, they have coverage in so many languages, which is nice. API references. Okay, this is the API reference. Okay. But it's the same thing. Let me see. If I say Flutterwave Python SDK. So that instead of making those requests in the hard-coded way, okay, we can simply use the Python SDK. And actually I saw it earlier, and here's the link. So I'm gonna go to taking some time to reload. Looks like internet is really slow today. Last updated 4 months ago. Not bad. Let's see. So say Flutterwave Python library introduction. The Python library provides an easy access to Flutterwave for business, V2 APIs from Django, Flask, and other Python apps. It abstracts the complexity involved in direct integration and allows you to make quick calls to the APIs. Available features includes collections, okay, card, account, mobile money, bank transfers, USSD. Okay, I think for my case, card will be the beginning, then maybe mobile money and USSD. Payouts and beneficiaries, recurring payments. I won't need this. Split payments, card issuing, not bad. Okay. Bill payments, not that. I won't need that. So this is from requirements. Okay. Requirements needs Flutterwave for business. API keys. Okay. I actually have my API keys. Okay. But I need to do it will be Flutterwave for business. So if Flutterwave for business is what is required, then we may not need this library. We'd actually just have to use the raw endpoints. Let me see. Okay, you import the class, then you create an instance of it using the public key. Okay. Then it's saying to instantiate without environment variables. Say if you choose not to store your secret key in an environment variable, we do provide a using flag, a using env flag, which can be set to false. Please be warned, do not use this package without environment variables in production. Okay. So this is the card. Okay. This is used to facilitate card transactions. Okay. And the functions include you can charge a card or refund a card. We actually have to build our own methods, because if you see up here, they said to use this package, you must have a Flutterwave for business, okay, which I don't have right now. I only have a sandbox. Then, okay, so the charge, okay, you can charge a card. Then you have the charge payload, okay, the card number. So simply an abstraction of what we saw, okay. So no problem. If we cannot use this, we shall use the API endpoint. So let's do that in the next stream, okay. Yeah, I'm a little bit tired over here, and yeah, I'm actually preparing a few videos for you. I'm preparing actual recorded content concerning AI, Docker, and FastAPI. So let's continue studying this soon. Okay. All right. Bye for now, and talk to you soon. I hope you've enjoyed the study of the payment gateway. Okay. If you know any better payment gateway, please let me know.